Welcome back to Connect to Your Bliss. My name is Dana, and today you need Tantra. Why I'm saying this, there's so many different reasons. Tantra is a philosophical art, if you will. It's a technique, it's a teaching, it's a way of being, a way of life. A lot of times you'll research it and think it's all about sex. And yes, the Western world has really sexualized all of these kind of teachings, but I want to really break it down for you, especially within my experience. I have been a tantric practitioner for the last 4 years, and it's been it's been a wild ride to witness so many different people, so many different kinds of humans that just want to expand themselves. And honestly, that's really what Tantra is about. It's about expansion and liberation. If you actually break down the word Tan means to expand, and Tra translates to liberate. So we're really expanding the mindset, expanding our awareness, and liberating ourselves from the constructs of our mind, conditioning, everything pretty much that we've been brought up on, especially around sexuality, intimacy, and all of those beautiful things. So, Tantra is not a religion. It is dating pre-religion, actually, like thousands and thousands of years ago in India. There's also texts that say something in Atlantis times. It wasn't called Tantra then, but definitely the practices had kind of superseded through. There is Buddhism, Hinduism, Taoism. There's all different forms of Tantra, but today we're really breaking down more of a modern Tantra to really understand how it can help you in your life. Because we're not going to sit there for hours on end meditating and doing all these different things. It is a very like more spiritual yogic practice, but it's also really enhances your sex life. And that's where the Western world kind of adopted this Tantra equals sex idea. So for me, I found it in the depths of so many toxic relationships, really thinking there was something wrong with me. And I was dating someone who I intellectually had an amazing relationship with. Because of the pandemic times, we weren't able to see each other. He lived in the States and I lived here in Canada. And it was a difficult time to uphold a relationship that was not physical. Pretty much all my relationships prior to this point were physical. So for me, it was a lot to do with like, oh my God, how is this actually going to work? How is this working anyways, right? So I had looked up on a common chat room around, it was connect to your intimacy. And I was like, I, in that moment, didn't even know what that meant, but I just knew I needed it. You know that like gut feeling you get when you're like, oh, I just need to do this thing. Don't ask me why, but I'm just gonna go do it. So I signed up, not knowing what I was walking into. It was a tantric workshop. Didn't know what tantra was at the time, but I walked in there with an intention, which is funny because tantra really is all about intention. Really setting the intention and being in the present moment. And, I was trained to be a tantric practitioner. I was doing it for myself. I wasn't even gunning after this thing called practicing, but it was definitely a modality you could use for said, making money and like giving back to people and being of service. And I was really curious about my own sexuality. I was really shamed a lot during my early years around what sex is and how it works and all these things. I remember my mom storming in my room and I was on the computer and I didn't know how to clear the cookies at the time. You have to like clear the cache of the cookies for when you search on the internet. And there's all these porn websites coming up. And I was like, I don't know what happened. They just kept popping up. But honestly, if I'm really like really thinking about it, I was so curious. I was so curious to know like why these images, why these things and these people that what they were doing essentially was turning me on. Now, I was a young kid, but I know the sensation is very similar to how I'm aroused nowadays. So it was just like a lot of stuff going on, a lot of stuff coming into, the teenage years and being curious and all those things. And God bless our parents, they didn't have the ability to promote or just be like honoring of the fact that we have urges and we have curiosities about sexuality. And a lot of times religion comes in where they're like, don't have sex before marriage, you're gonna die, and it's the devil and all these things. And it's like, no, this is expansion. This is not like denominate, like the diminishing, So, anyways, backtracked. I really just was so curious and really wanted to find that out for myself, especially being an adult. Like, I've went all my life thinking sex was just about, or even relationships, to pump and dump. Like, you do the act, you get off. I don't get off because I'm a woman and it doesn't really happen for me. And I had all these ridiculous beliefs about myself, and it really hindered my relationships. So fast forward to the tantric workshop, and it was just so beautiful to understand that I was okay to feel what I was feeling. And I was in a room full of women, okay? We were being taught how to transcend this energy, this frequency of love and compassion and all this stuff, which was also missing in my childhood. This is not a blame. My mom was not emotionally available. And if you had a parent that was not emotionally available, you come up with different ways to protect yourself because, or find the love, and you don't usually seek it within because you weren't modeled that. So this was an opportunity for me to be like, hey, I get to discover what this is, and that women aren't always cutthroat and competitive and aren't out to get me. So, anyways, I loved the fact that I was able to just be myself. I was accepted fully for who I am. And it was my first inkling to know that I was born worthy, just like you watching this or listening in. You were born worthy of your desires, of your wants, of your needs, all of it. And there's a lot of conditioning when we're young children that makes us believe otherwise. So this was like an awakening, an opportunity, my next level of just honoring all the things. And a lot of the things we were taught were around breathing and yoga and like going within and understanding body sensations and like feeling yourself. Like I was not taught that. I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure a lot of us were not taught that. Look at our sex education. If you were lucky, you got to know what diseases were to prevent them and how to prevent sex or how to prevent pregnancy during sex. You put a condom on a banana, you had the physicality of like, oh, this is how you do it, and all the things. And then you go, and there's this whole societal thing about don't have sex because da 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 da. And then the flip side is your peers are pressuring you to do that because that's the cool thing to do. There's a lot of shame and guilt around doing said things or not doing said things. And there's a lot of pressure, especially when we're teenagers. So this is really vital when you have a child, or if you remember yourself as this age, discovering your body, discovering your urges, and discovering like, why do I feel this way? And it just gave me the permission to feel and to be myself and love. And I was caressed by a woman, and it wasn't bad and it wasn't wrong. And it felt so good. And like the massage part is only a fraction of it. Just like Tantra, sex is only a fraction of what Tantra is or what it can provide you. It's really this weaving together of spirit and your sexuality and your physical body, like I am now taught that you are a spirit first. Like yes, you were given this beautiful body, this physicality, but you were a spirit first. And Tantra teaches us that we need to honor our essence, especially if you're feminine. Feminine essence is receiving and loving and intuition and care and just like emotion and all these beautiful things that we oftentimes diminish, especially when we're going through maybe our menstrual cycle or our menopause and our body's not cooperating with us the way we want it to. Well, honey, you got to stop being so mean to yourself. How are you speaking to yourself? What foods and nutrition are you putting in your body? And then, yes, the men, okay? I predominantly worked with men in the last 3 years of doing physical practicing, and men are such beautiful creatures. They want the love and admiration also. They just go about it differently. They're naturally born the givers. They're naturally born to provide, to protect, to perform, And a lot of times we get diminished in, oh, I can't perform well in the bedroom, which trickles into other areas of life, say maybe the boardroom, or maybe you're not being a good dad or a father or whatever, or a partner, whatever it looks like for you. And all these things were taught through this tantric understanding of I am the one for me. I give to myself first as a sacred act for all, because a sacred act really means when more life is for me, more life for you as the individual that's maybe receiving and in my general vicinity, but also you are for all. The collective. This transcends through time. Me learning about this allowed me to maybe not preach, but just tell people, there's another way to do intimacy. There's another way to connect. We don't know how to connect deeply, on a soulful level. We just think, oh, we're in a relationship, so we do everything together. We're connected. But how connected are you? How much do you know yourself enough to communicate to your partner that I want it done this way, or if you do this, this is how it helps me feel alive. And it's really about, yeah, the connection, the weaving of souls, the weaving of partnership and knowing. And even if you don't have a partner, you can weave with yourself. Do you know how many parts there are to you? There's so many beautiful parts. And I just want to really explain that you're not just one thing. Actually, you're no thing, you're nothing. You're you're a being. You're not a thing, you're a being. Human being, not a human doing. How many times have you gone out and tried to do everything else to just burn yourself out, not leaving room or space for yourself to just be? Which in turn helps you with your intimacy and all these beautiful things. So it's really about learning about self, learning about your body, expanding your mindset, expanding your awareness to know other things in life are possible, that you don't have to do it the way you've been always taught. And unfortunately, really, we haven't been taught the right way. Not that there is a right or wrong way, because this is another tantric teaching. There's no right or wrong way to do something. It's the one that's best suited to you, the one that's going to set your soul on fire. And I just want you to know that you're not alone. We get to figure this out together. We don't have to hide and be like, oh, I'm shamed because I have this desire of feet, or I have this desire of whatever. It's like, no, you get to experience what it feels like to fully embrace who you are. And even if you're in the discovery of it, no part of you is bad or wrong. That is a man-made construct to live in fear. And my friends, you are only love. There is only love in existence. It's a polar opposite, which we'll get to on another talk, but this is so beautiful to know that you don't have to perform. You don't have to have an orgasm or reach that point to be worthy of love and intimacy. There are teachings in the tantric text that you as a male suit can have orgasm without ejaculating, and being in your best interest to generate that more and more and more, whereas women are different and we need to expand ourselves by releasing the old to run and regenerate the new. And most men look at me, or most couples look at me, and they're like, what are you talking about? And it's like, think about it. Every time a male ejaculates, you're giving away life. You are the giver of said seed that can be a potential human. Now, if you regenerated or repurpose that semen, that sacred juice that flows out of your body, you can actually reinsert it into yourself and generate more life and birth maybe a business or a project or something else. Now, if you're procreating and you're actually making a physical life form, please, by all means, ejaculate, be free, be loving. I love this for you. And we don't always have to expel things and not have a use for them. Okay. And for women, yes, our ejaculation technically is squirting, but not every woman has that ability. We can train the body to understand it, just like a man can be trained to not ejaculate, like a woman. And then it creates this pathway where you're in sync so greatly that nothing outside of yourself, no outside circumstance will ever knock you down. This is why I love Tantra. This is why I love the teachings that I have learned, that it allows you to be you authentically. There's no cutthroat. There's no, oh, he said, she said. There's no, oh, he doesn't give me sex anymore, or she's not in the mood. No, you find a way to make your entire life an intimate setting. You don't need to schedule it on a Saturday night, and that's the only intimacy you ever see. Do I suggest scheduling your intimate times? Abso-freaking-lutely, because if you schedule it in your calendar, you know you're going to do it. You're going to show up for that appointment, whether it's with yourself or someone else. And there is something to be said about having this intimacy around you all the time. How you do one thing is how you do everything. I'm talking, I'm going to go do the dishes and I'm having an intimate experience with the bubbles and the suds and everything else. Yes, it's possible. Yes, life gets in the way because we're very fast paced these days, but it doesn't have to be the only thing. Okay. So, more to come on all of this, breaking down the intricate parts of Tantra, of sacred intimacy, masculine and feminine energetics. Like, how does this really allow you to have the life you actually want? So, please return, always subscribe if these videos are reaching you, and send it to a friend, okay? People need to know about this. It's not about the subscribers to me. It's not about the how many likes and all the things. If this really resonates with you and you spark something in you, whether it's positive or negative, take that as an activation and say, holy crap, maybe she's got something here, you know? And I always say, take what's true for you, leave the rest. But if there's one small nugget to take away, is that you are worthy and nothing outside of you can ever knock your experience. Okay. Sending you so much love, connecting to your bliss in multiple ways with multiple orgasms. I will catch you later. Take care.